Well, I've already reviewed one special this month involving the giant mutant musical rodents. Might as well go for the brace, right? Full disclosure, while I never disliked Alvin and the Chipmunks and would occasionally watch it, it was never one of those shows I made certain to watch every Saturday morning. Mostly because it was on NBC, and again, I rarely tuned away from CBS in those days. As such, there are a lot of episodes from the 80s series I surely have never seen, and as I said last time, I don't think I've seen any of the Alvin show that preceded it. So I am assuming this special was created to finally address one topic that was never brought up in the series before now. Just how did a struggling musician named Dave Seville end up caring for 3 chipmunks that grew to the size of human children and became music stars themselves? Well, not all those questions get answered here, but either way, let's get into 1985's A Chipmunk Reunion. We open with Alvin, Simon, and Theodore bickering over what all brothers clearly argue about: when their birthday is.
Dave, would you please tell these misinformed children that we were born on the 15th, 18th, 12th?
To tell you the truth, fellas, I don't know the exact date. We always celebrated in the spring when I found you on my doorstep.
Again, I have no idea if this was mentioned before in this series or in any of the prior Alvin cartoons. At any rate, Alvin decides the only way they can figure out what the exact date is to find their mother herself. Which means it's adventure time! Yeah, I could get away with saying that a lot more before 2010. Oh, but don't worry, it's not like they just up and leave without Dave completely not knowing. They leave the Chipettes to tell him!
They went to find their mother?
You got it, exactly, that's it.
Did they say why? Did they say when they'd be back? They don't know where to look. All alone in the forest with wild animals. They could get hurt. I've got to find them.
You know, he took that better than I thought he would. So the boys head into the forest that I guess was right nearby their city on the advice of some park ranger who tells them of some great winter that occurred the year they were born that drove all the creatures deep into the woods near Eagle's Peak. Wait a minute. Does this mean they're standing on what will become Bird Island? Is the Angry Birds universe actually set in some post-apocalyptic world after the ice caps melted and flooded the entire rest of the planet? And thus we get little more than a musical montage of their travels until about 5 minutes into the show when they run into... That is definitely not Pumbaa. The wild boar chases them all the way down a hill and right in front of...
Fortunately, no one was seriously hurt, although Papa Willie did sprain his foot pretty badly. Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
Wow, found her by the end of the first act. I give the show credit for not dragging that major plot element out for as long as possible. So the second act is mostly Dave and the Chipettes trying to find out where the boys went and nearly getting themselves killed in the process.
Brittany! Is she okay?
Hang on, Brittany.
Not a word, Jeanette.
Meanwhile, the boys end up getting a whole city mice in the country vibe as they realize living with Mom isn't exactly the same as living with Dave.
We're having maple leaves, berries, and nuts. I hope you boys don't mind my fussing over you, but I want our first meal together to be very special. We'll never forget it, Mom.
But it's about halfway through the special, and we have yet to see Alvin act like a whiny brat, so...
What do you care? I care very much. I'm your mother. I love you. Ha! That's why you left us on a stranger's doorstep?
And so she finally tells them about the Great Winter, and how she was certain the 3 of them could not have survived the journey into the forest that all the creatures had to endure, so she left them with the one human she was sure would look after them. But wait a minute. Dave specifically said at the beginning that he found the chipmunks on his door in the spring. What? Were we talking about spring north of the wall? Did no one proofread this script? Well, we don't have that much long to ponder this because...
What's going on? The boar! Quickly, boys! Away from the door!
Someone needs to get that boar a girlfriend. He has a lot of issues to work out. Seriously, see those ropes tied to the hooves? Where did that boy get away from? It's like there's a whole other story here that we're not being told. The boys start to suggest that maybe their mother would be safer if she went to live with them and Dave, but Mom says she can't possibly live in the city, and this causes Alvin to go into another fit and run away. With that boar on the loose still, this sounds really bad.
I don't know. My babies!
Man, did I call that! But this is the time for Mama Chipmunk to go all Mama Bear on this boar's ass!
Mom! Run, boys!
You know, it's probably for the best. Any bacon from something like that would have been terrible anyway.
Mom! Are you okay? Is she?
So now it's time to reverse the tables and the boys have to nurse their mother back to health. And Alvin makes amends with her by basically stealing lines from Simon, because that's basically what Alvin does.
Where have I heard that before?
The next morning, the boys finally find out what they were looking for all along, as it turns out this day is their birthday after all.
I knew it was the 14th! You said it was the 15th, Alvin.
And it's at that precise moment that Dave and the Chipettes come across the place. Don't you love coinky dinks? But it's all for the best as the boys are reunited with Dave, and of course they tell him they're gladly coming home with him now that all their questions have been answered. And I guess Dave's willing to forgive them for running away because, hey, this is still only about the 15th craziest thing they've ever done. And the special ends with the Chipmunk rendition of Shake It Up by the Cars. Don't know how that applies to this story, but hopefully Rick Ocasek was able to laugh at this. I give this special credit. It's nowhere near as bad as the last one. It can get kinda sappy at times, but it also has some decent action, and it does its job establishing a backstory for our main characters. The boy's mother would return in later episodes of the series, so it's definitely in canon, and worth checking out if you are a fan of this franchise. Like I said, I've never really hated the Chipmunks, just been kinda meh on them. There have been far more insane characters to get their own 80s cartoon specials.